All right, so we are here and I am going to build a very quick third-person controller. So I've got a player here, a model. Bloop. He's got an animator and a character controller on him. In the animator, we have, don't look at that, it's crazy. We have 3 floats, vertical, horizontal, and a crouch float. I know often you see crouch as a bool, but I'm going to use it as a float. Jump trigger, that's the circle, is grounded Boolean. It's currently set to true. So if we get the jump trigger, no exit time on trigger, we jump. Okay, we go from our jump start to our falling loop, and I've got a different transition here. It's something you can learn real quick. So we jump, and my jump animation goes up and down. It's like a full animation of a jumping. Well, I don't want a full animation for jumping, so I'm going to blend them like that. And as I now jump, it blends and goes into that. That might be a little early. Let's cut it back just a little. And we jump, and now it goes into the fall, right? That's kind of how you use these things. This is the blend ratio. The fall, we're going to keep falling. We're falling forever. Doesn't matter until is grounded is true. If is grounded is true, we're not falling anymore, so we've landed. And we just kind of play this and go back here. If we're here and is grounded is false, we go from here to the falling loop. All right, in here, I know it's a blend tree inside blend tree, and it's probably confusing and scary, but that's okay. In the first one, we have a 1D, it's crouch. It's going to simply go from 0 to 1 based on this crouch value. So at 1, we're running this blend tree. At 0, we're running this blend tree. All right. This blend tree is a 2D freeform Cartesian. Vertical and horizontal, we have our idles, and then we got the 4-way walks. Down here, we have an idle and 4-way walks as well. And the difference is this is when we're standing, and this is when we're crouched. So now if I click here and hit play, vertical, like he's moving forward, he's moving backwards, but if I bring the crouch up, he now goes standing. Same idea, but we're blending into a crouch as well. So that is how our animator works. Very, very simple, nothing crazy. So what do we want here? We want, what should we start with first? Let's start with the camera. No, let's not start with the camera because the camera needs something. Let's start with this guy. Let's create a ground checker because it's a solid way to do ground. I'm going to raise it up just a little bit so it is kind of above this guy's feet. And I'm going to create another one, and this will be a camera follow. If I could spell things right, that would be lovely. I should have finished school. So now we have a little over, somewhere over the shoulder. Don't got to be accurate, 100% accurate. The other thing is min move distance. I have this at 0, keynote, and I've adjusted the collider to match that. We need an FSM. So let's do is grounded first because it's super, super easy. I'm going to just sphere cast. And I want to sphere cast from the ground checker. Radius, we'll say 0.2, going -1 on the Y. So we're going down. I'm going to use the world space, and we're going to go for a distance of 0.3. I'm also going to use a layer mask, and we're going to, I'll just keep it on default. The player is currently on the player layer. So every frame store did hit is grounded. Set animator bool. Right there. Let's move him to the bottom. And we can just click this. There's grounded. The value you want to use is grounded every frame. So if this is hitting, this is true. Pretty simple. Shrink that one down. Let's open this one up. Let's call this one move. In move, we're going to have get axes. Let's get a few of those. So we have horizontal, and we can store that into an X. We have vertical. We can store that into a Z. We have mouse X, capital X, with some crazy stupid multiplier. Let's give it like 500. Let's give it 1 billion. rotation. And what else do we want? Let's get a few more things happening here. Come on, let's go. Get key. Let's get keys. Let's get 2 of those. We also want a, we'll say a space. No, we don't want a space. That'd be silly. Let's get a left shift. L, L, L. Left shift. Left shift and save that as a, no, let's just save it as a left shift. Let's just call it that. Screw it. Get key, let's get C. There's C, down there. And let's save that as, well, let's call it C. We'll use the same naming thing. So now bool convert to float. We need a couple of those. Actually, we need 3 of those, to tell you the truth. So I'm going to take all 3 of those and drop them down below all of this stuff. Shrink this because we don't want to fucking see it anymore. So we're going to take C, and we have a float value now of speed. So if that's true, let's go with 1. But if it's false, let's go 3. Okay, and let's also go C, and let's go set animator crouch. So again, if it's true, we're crouching, and we know crouching is 0, false is 1. All right, let's go left shift, and let's go with speed multiplier. If it's true, let's go 2. If it's false, let's go 1. Float operator. All right, now let's take speed and the speed multiplier, and we'll multiply them, and we're going to end up with a set speed variable every frame. All right, so we're converting, so there's a whole whack of inputs for us. So what are we going to do with all these wonderful inputs? We are going to set animator floats. We got 3 of those, right? We're going to set vertical to the Z, and we'll give it a little bit of a damp time so it's not just straight in there. And we'll give a horizontal and X every frame, and again we'll also use a damp time. We also want to crouch to go into set animator crouch. We'll also give that a damp time. Oh, why did I put this down here? Let's put that up here. So now we have our set animators. Okay, so the other thing we need is to set vector 3 XYZ. And we need a vector called move. And we're going to use our X and our Z every frame. And then we're just going to simply move our actual controller so we can actually do some movement. And we're going to move, and the speed is we're going to use the set speed and space self. The other thing we want to do is rotate. And I'm going to put this down below, and per second. On the Y, I want rotation. All right. I know it looks like a lot. Get key down. So we're going to have that, and we also need a FSM bool test. If you don't have that, you can get the bool and then test it after. So we're going to test is grounded, and that, and if it's false, we are falling. Every frame we have some sort of falling state over here. If we get the space bar, we're going to have a jump event. So we go up here, and the first thing we want to do is set animator trigger, and we're going to want a little wait. And the reason why we do this because the animation doesn't like play and you instantly rocket straight up kind of idea. It's the animation's got that little bit of a wind up, right? So I'm gonna go a 0.9 and I'm gonna cause a finish. All right, so we're gonna start playing our animation. We do a tiny little wait, and then we're just gonna do this action called jump. And we can jump, I don't know, 1.5. Space world's fine. Move vector, we can use that. If we bring in the get axes, we can have control in air, but I'm not that worried about it. And we have a landed event. Let's just call it landed. All right. So if we have landed, we don't necessarily want to give control right away because we have that little bit of a landing animation. So again, I just want a small little thing like that. Just a small delay. Ain't got to be much. So if we're falling, I'm just going to use a simple move in here, and I'm going to maintain that move. Speed doesn't really matter. You can almost make it small. Self. And what do we want to do? Oh yes, we need to FSM bool test. Let's test that again. Let's check grounding. Is grounded, and if it's true, we have landed this time, right? So again, we're just going to go back into this. So there we have falling and jumping. We have an animator, we got a ground checker, we need a camera follow. This guy, very simple logic. All I'm going to put on him is a mouse look. Mouse look 2, but screw the X. We don't care about that crap. We should leave it at 0. I'm going to go with a -3 on the Y. Close down those clamps. I don't care if they got errors. That's fine. Ain't going to hurt me. So there's that. Our camera also needs logic. So I'm going to transform, if I could spell things right, transform point. There we go. We also need a set position. And we need a look at. Nope, not a mouse look, a look at. There we go. So we're going to transform a point. The point we want to transform is we're going to look at this little camera follow. I'm going to just drag him in there. I can go -4, and this is going to be a world space, like that. So we're always going to get the spot in this guy's local -4Z, if that makes sense. So next we want to move in the world space every frame, late update to that position. We also wish to look at the player, but not right at the player, because then we'll be at his feet. So let's just look at the player, maybe slightly up and slightly over. Don't have that keep vertical. That will screw you up. Let's test something. Let's see how this is working so far. Everything we've done. So we can move. There we have it. If I push C and I let go of C, right, because I've got a holding. There we have that. And if I hit space, we do a jump and we land. We can come up here, we can fall off it. It needs to be smoothed out a little bit. Oh yeah, I can hold down shift and I sprint. See my difference in speed? All right, so I fly off that. Boop. All right, so just about all the way there. Let's just touch up a couple things really quickly. Let's go over here and let's adjust this. So from this, no. If we go to a falling state, we're moving. I'm going to bring that up just a tiny bit. And What else do we want to add? Oh, that's the other thing I want to add. In here, this all looks all pretty, right? Well, let's get mouse button down. Let's get some complication getting in here, eh, bud? Let's call it zoom, because I meant to spell zoom, but hey, you know, whatever. Now it says zoom. You see nothing. So the other thing we're going to want is float interpolate and a set FOV. There we go. I'm going to move this guy right to the very top. This guy can also go to the top. And he can go below that though. So we're going to go from a variable called FOV, which doesn't exist, now it does, to our base is going to be 60 over half a second, store into FOV. We also now want to set the FOV with FOV every frame, and go over here, we've zoomed. Copy and paste, and we're going to here, and this can just go back. Now this one we don't want to go to 60, we want to go to say 15. That'll zoom in. We don't want get mouse button down, we want get mouse button up. And let's move to the bottom. And we want the right mouse button, and we're just going to use that same event. What else can we do? And that's it. So now I can zoom. I gotta move that over a bit though. Right, and we can sprint, we can move, we're strafing, going forward, we can crouch, and we can still do all the same stuff while we're crouching. And we can jump. Our jump is still using world space though, so we need to fix that because that looks kind of weird. So world space, no, we want self space. And jumping a little high, let's bring that down a bit. The other thing I want to do is go into the camera, change the camera, because we have transform point. I'm also going to bring this over just a tiny bit. I'm going to go say 0.25. And when we zoom in, I think I'm going to take that over to a 0.5. Let's see how that reacts. See, I don't know. That could probably go over some more. So let's just keep adjusting that. So we're for here. Let's go 1. Let's go extreme. Let's try 0.75 on this side. I like super extreme. I like, oh my god, you went 1. Right, so okay, so that's getting better. You know what we need to do? We need to adjust the look. So here we have, okay, let's go 0.75. Now let's go back to 0.5 on here. And let's go 0.5 on there. Let's go with 0.6. But let's adjust the look. Right, because this guy is looking at that. Let's look at 0.4. And let's look at a distance of 1. And let's do the kind of the same thing down here. And let's go 0.3. There, that already looks better. That's better. Right, so now we come up here and we're like, oh my god, we're falling. Boop. And see now, so that's jumping straight up. But if I'm walking and I hit jump, he'll kind of leap in that direction. If I'm walking over here, he'll still kind of go in this direction. It's not very much. Like I got the speed cut in half, so it's like, woo. Now, you always could, if I had a better animation, which I probably do, but when I hit jump, I mean, I could just rock it as I'm moving, other than trying to stop and do that. But that's the animation. So I do have my limits as well. Anyways, there is a quick character controller. Hope you enjoyed it. Talk to you later.